In this video, we're going to look at how do you become the go-to coach in your niche. I'm going to show you how to master the psychology of the way you position your value so that your audience feels deeply connected to you. And out of all the coaches they could possibly work with, out of all the people, all the leaders in the space, all the people they look up to, they're going to pick you every single time because you have one thing going for you that they don't. And this will truly differentiate you in this space. We're going to have a lot of fun diving into the psychology of who you work with. Because truthfully, there's actually two paths you can take to do this. One is the long-term game, and one is the short-term game. The long-term game involves you constantly putting out content so that you become omnipresent in a way, meaning the more that you create, the more that you share and get out there, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on TikTok or social media or any combination of what you have at your disposal, the more you start to put these ideas out there, the more you start to stick in that person's mind. And if you understand as you're creating that content, how to bring people into your world, so you're telling stories about yourself, you're presenting who you are, your lived experiences, you're not just teaching information, you're revealing more of who you are so that there's higher and higher levels of trust. Over time, that starts to compound. People begin to tune into you more and more, and they will look at you because of the amount of social proof that you have going for them. But what if you don't have that? What if you don't have the bandwidth to build a massive brand right now? What if you're just getting started as a coach and you're like, look, I'm focused right now on delivering amazing results. I want to dial in my message. I want to get my offer really crisp. And when someone hires me, I want to have an effective discovery call, a great sales process that feels authentic for me and them. And I want to focus on creating amazing transformations for them. And right now, I want to focus on that. Over time, yeah, for sure, I want to build my brand. But right now, I want more of a short-term approach. And this is the way that I actually took when I decided to grow this business. I intentionally did not take the long-term approach. What I'm doing right now is literally more of the long-term approach. I'm wanting to create videos, of course, and share them with you, get them out there. And in doing that, you get to connect more with me. You get to see more of me out there helping you. But when I started this business, that actually wasn't my approach. I intentionally went a different path. Instead of trying to position myself as someone that can help you, or that can help you at a high level, or that can help you in a way because I've got a big brand, I should say, I positioned myself where I simply understood your problem more than you do. And to get there, I spent really about 150, 200 days early on in this business, interviewing as many people as I possibly could. And so that's the first step that I would take to be the go-to coach in your niche, is have as many conversations as you possibly can with people that represent your ideal client. And don't worry if necessarily they're going to end up hiring you afterwards. These aren't discovery calls, although it's great if you're doing that. But I mean more so just out of curiosity. You're interviewing them and you're getting to know them. You're wanting to find out really what makes this person tick and what are their challenges. Because when you're really focused on a niche, when you're clear on who that group of people is, it's time to really start to understand them. When you've gotten past that hurdle of, well, everyone I work with is so different, and now you're really dialed in, your message can really start to get crystal clear. And you can start to present the understanding, like I know exactly what you're going through because you've taken the time to interview and connect with these people. So in year one of this business, I interviewed like 150 coaches. I myself at this point had been coaching for about 6 to 7 years. I had my own experiences. I knew my own frustrations around messaging and marketing and growing my business, but I still sat down and I interviewed over 150 coaches and I took copious notes. Then I distilled those notes into the most common patterns that I saw. And I'm going to show you in a little bit what this does for your ideal client and why they end up feeling so seen by you. This is really powerful. And it's the extra step that I find that most people in the space don't ever really take. They rely on AI to kind of spit it out for them and they run with that, or they have like a few conversations they kind of remember and then they go with that. But that's not the level of detail that I recommend. I recommend having as many conversations as you can with people in the space. And funny enough, even if you do that without intending to create clients, you will, because you're taking the time to really understand that person. And invariably, you're going to be able to give them insights along the way. I mean, when they're sharing what's not working over and over again, you're going to get better at picking up on these patterns. You're going to get faster at distilling them on the fly and even giving that person insight. Hey, have you considered this? Do you think this might be behind that? I never thought of it that way. Well, wait a minute. Do you work with people like me? But I want to be clear, this is not a client acquisition strategy. This is for you to really understand your ideal client. And the reason for this is because once you have these conversations and you jot these things down and you take these notes and then you look at these patterns, your audience's psychology, your ideal client psychology becomes crystal clear. Like you just see it in detail. It starts to become obvious what they're challenged with, what they're going through, what they perceive as happening. And you start to see the difference between their psychology and yours as the coach. And that difference is really where you can offer the most value. Because the more you start to reflect an understanding of that person's psychology in your marketing, in your content, on your website, in conversation, even sitting next to someone on an airplane, and they're like, hey, tell me about what you do. If you understand who your ideal client is, the way that you articulate how you can help them becomes so much sharper and crisper. And over time, this actually accelerates so that you don't need a massive brand initially. One piece of content can actually really connect with that person because it's like you're cheating. It's like all these people that you've talked to start to inform what you can predict is likely happening in that person's brain. So when you're putting together your ideas, you start to have this advantage that starts to form for you, where you know what they're experiencing on an even deeper level than they do. And so when that person comes across your stuff, comes across you, comes across an opportunity to work with you, you actually start to stick more in their brain because you become more relevant to them. There's a great quote in marketing. It's about entering into the conversation your ideal client is already having in their brain. And so one of the things that I see like with coaches is when we put together our message, we're like, I help you get unstuck and help you actualize your highest self. I help you become that leader. And I help you achieve this endless creative potential and clarity. And the problem is your ideal client is never walking around going, how do I achieve potential endless clarity? How do I get there? Oh, wait, hold on a second, boss. Hold on. I can't attend the meeting. I'm trying to achieve endless potential right now. Like literally no one is thinking this way. And so when you start sharing what you do as a coach using this language, that's why it falls flat. It's not entering into the conversation that person is having in their brain. They're having likely a more superficial conversation. They're talking more about what's not working, what's irritating them. They're more specific. It's not just like I'm stuck. It's when it comes to the specific scenario, I don't know how to get past this and this thing keeps happening. And so when you're having these interviews, you want to keep drilling down. You don't want to let someone just tell you like, well, I'm stuck. And you're like, all right, you're stuck. Got it. That's going to go on my website. You're stuck. Great. Help people get, wait for it, unstuck. That doesn't work, right? It's like, well, what do you mean stuck? Stuck in what way? Stuck when? Stuck where? Stuck, why are you stuck? In what situations are you stuck? Can you be more specific? Can you zoom in on that? And you start to pull out of them what's actually going on, both on a conscious and subconscious level. And this is how you start to reflect it over and over again. And when that person sees your message that is dialed into them, that is a radio that is dialed to their exact channel, so it's not noise. It's not like when they're on that radio. Remember, like, I don't know, I'm a kid of the 90s, right? We grew up in cars, and like, yeah, you have your presets, right? Which are like radio stations you would punch in. But then sometimes you'd be traveling and you have to find new radio stations, and you'd be on that dial and you'd be like turning it. There'd be a lot of garbled noise and junk and white noise. And then finally you pop over into a station. You're like, all right, cool. I guess I'm listening to country for a little bit. And I hate country music. Or, okay, I guess we got like Spanish soap opera for a while. But finally it gets like clear and crisp. And okay, there's no more like garbled noise. That's how you want to think of your message. The degree to which you are clear and crisp and actually breaking through for them to pay attention to you and deem what you're saying is relevant entirely comes down to how well you understand and reflect your ideal client's psychology. Because when that happens, that's why they start to see you as the go-to in your niche. That's what makes them go, what the hell? Is this person in my brain literally? Is this person like wow, are they like following me? How do they know so much about me? How do they get me so much? And now their attention becomes locked onto you. And I'm not saying don't create social proof. I'm not saying don't create a lot of content and don't build a brand. Don't create case studies and testimonials you can share with people. But you need a lot less of them if this is going on. Because the assumption is if you understand the problem, even as much as I do, even more than I do, then I assume you can help me with this just the same. And I took this strategy, I interviewed 150 coaches, and then this is how I grew this business. And everywhere that I've seen now in helping coaches get their message really dialed in, where you don't need to have a massive brand. You don't need to have all the social proof in the world. You don't need to have celebrity status, like a big following. You can be someone that just simply understands your ideal client more than other people do. And that's what has you stand out. Because we'll end on this. Think about when ultimately that person decides to hire you. Is it because they're looking at your credentials and your background and your skill set and the people that are following you and that have paid attention to you? And is that why they're hiring you? Or is it because you're a great listener and they feel seen by you? They feel a connection with you. They feel like they can trust you. They feel like you're giving them the truth. You're having them look in the mirror. They feel like they see themselves on a more crystal clear level. Which one is it? Take that gold, take that relationship and map it across into the way that you bring together your message. And that is how you become the go-to in this niche. Stick around, subscribe if you haven't already, give this video a like, and please comment. Tell me how you have been. What has been your strategy, your journey on becoming the go-to in your niche? Leave any questions you have as well, and stick with me. I'm in it for the long haul with you, and I wish you the best. I'll see you in the next video.